Al Pacino lied. It turned out that when he said, "Say hello to my little friend,"
Say hello to my little friend!
he was lying. Pacino's little friend is not that little. And if you think we're lying, just ask Noral, who is 50 years younger than Al Pacino and still dating him. Then, afterward, ask Beverly DAngelo, who divorced her Italian Duke husband so she could date Pacino. Pacino has had many beauties lose themselves due to his steaming and undiluted masculine essence and his little friend. He's even getting these beauties in his 80s. Just how does he do it? You'll see in this video all about the beauties Al Pacino has slept with. Jill Clayberg, 1967 to 1972. Pacino had a reputation for being smooth with women, and Jill Clayberg felt that smoothness firsthand. She was his first public romance, and they began their relationship in 1967. It was an intense whirlwind of untamed passion, and the results of that passion is something you wouldn't expect. Al Pacino became a star with his performance in The Godfather, and with great fame came extreme recklessness. Pacino didn't know how to handle the fame. He didn't have people who could guide him. There's a dark reason behind this, and we'll show you. When he was 2 years old, his parents divorced, which led him to living with his mother and her parents in the South Bronx. Al wasn't the easiest of kids. He got into fights and was one of his school's troublemakers. However, he had great ambitions. And no, he didn't want to be an actor. Pacino wanted to become a baseball player, who strangely his friends named the actor. So, in junior high, Pacino dropped his other classes and only focused on his English lessons. Then he did something crazy. He chose to attend the High School of Performing Arts after a successful audition. His mom was pissed off when she found out what he'd done. They argued about his decision, and because he couldn't convince her about his choice, Al left home. Talk about gutsy or maybe reckless. What do you think? To have money and pay for his studies, Pacino worked different low-paying jobs. He worked as a mailroom worker, a janitor, a busboy, a postal clerk, and messenger. Then, the streets began to influence the stubborn actor. He began to drink and smoke at the age of 9. When he was 13, he took marijuana. However, he had a personal principle. He started away from hard drugs. They only brought him painful memories. Hard drugs killed his two closest friends at the ages of 19 and 30. Despite his disagreements with his mom, she and her father, his grandfather, were the most influential people in his life. His mother died in 1962 when she was 43, and his grandmother died the year after. With those two gone, Al was out of control. So when the game came, he didn't have a stabilizing presence that would help him handle the fame. He forgot his principle of not using hard drugs. The success that came with the Godfather movie was immense, and with more money than ever, Al began to use hard drugs. He broke up with Jill Clayberg, and it ended in destruction for her. Al Pacino did more than steal her heart, he stole her very being too. She hated herself after the breakup and also hated Al. She felt so much pain and anger too. Eventually, Clayberg would recover. She married playwright Dan Rabe in 1979 and gave birth to 2 children, Michael Rabe and actress Lily Rabe. However, for Clayberg, the worst was yet to come. The actress had leukemia and lived with it for 21 years before dying in 2010 at the age of 66. Tuesday Weld, 1972. Al got a taste of breaking women's hearts and becoming unstoppable. After he broke up with Jill, he moved on with newly divorced actress Tuesday Weld, while Jill was a mess. However, if it's any consolation for Jill, Pacino and Tuesday wouldn't be with each other for long. The two would meet again as co-stars in the film Author, but nothing happened between them. Weld would eventually have multiple marriages and give birth to 2 children. Martha Keller, 1977 to 1979. In 1977, Pacino and Keller had a relationship, and it was a surprising one. The two of them hated each other while filming the 1970 film Bobby Deerfield. They were always fighting. What they didn't know was that their constant fighting was a result of something they both denied: red-hot attraction. Once they figured this part out, no one could keep them away from each other, but it wouldn't last. 2 years later, they broke up. However, when he fell for his next co-star, they had a pretty wholesome relationship. Want to find out about it? We'll show you. Diane Keaton, 1974 to 1990. The Godfather brought many things for Al. The movie gave him fame, wealth, and love. It gave him Diane Keaton. In the film, they played husband and wife, and off it, they dated. The two began to date in 1974, and it was too intense. However, it was on and off, which allowed the two to see other people. Keaton was crazy for Pacino. She found him charming and hilarious. The wild side that Pacino gained when he was on the streets was also an attractive quality, which made him irresistible to Keaton, although the two wouldn't agree on one thing. Keaton wanted them to get married. Pacino, on the other hand, didn't want any commitment. He had too much passion in his groin to stay with one woman, so anytime Keaton brought up the question of marriage, things got awkward. Then, after 16 years of waiting for him to marry her, she gave him an ultimatum. Al wasn't the kind of guy to have ultimatums. Of course, he didn't listen to her, and she painfully broke up with him. Jan Tarrant, 1988 to 1990. Al's relationship with Keaton is arguably his most popular one. The one with Jan Tarrant, Angelina Jolie's first acting coach, is also popular too, but for another reason entirely. She gave birth to Pacino's first child, a daughter who they named Julie Marie Pacino in 1989. Having a daughter around didn't mean Pacino was going to be around. 2 years after they began their relationship in 1988, the two of them went their separate ways. Maybe Pacino didn't intend to have a child with her. Or what do you think? Hold that thought till we show you his next beauty he slept with. Lindel Hobbs, 1990 to 1995. When Al Pacino met Australian director and producer Lindel Hobbs, for her, the whole world stopped. No, it didn't really stop. It moved too fast for her. Quote, "My stomach lurched with a rush of romance-induced adrenaline, and I felt positively giddy," she wrote of their early days in her 2015 memoir, A Girl from Oz. Well, her lurching stomach would mean that she'll eventually vomit the attraction she felt for Pacino, but she didn't know it at the time. Allegedly, Al had someone else during the time, and he was with her, but more on this soon. Lindel wanted to have a child with Al, but he didn't want to. He had a daughter who was still so young. You have to wonder how Jan pulled it off. How did she get Al to make a baby with her? The intense actor continued to stall for time, and he did so for 5 years before Hobbs moved on and went to adopt a son. Penelope Ann Miller, 1993 to 1994. Al could be a joy to watch on screen, but like his on-screen roles, he wasn't always a good guy. While Al dated Lindel, he had an affair with Penelope Ann Miller. "It's not a secret, and I'm not ashamed of it," Miller told People in 1993. Quote, "Al is a very passionate person, and he brought out a certain womanliness, a sexuality, a passion in me. I think I always knew I had it in me, but he brought out a real fire," unquote. Honestly, what did Al Pacino do to these beauties that makes them go so crazy about him? He just made a woman confess to cheating and admit that she enjoyed it. What a man! What are your secrets, Al? According to Miller, during the time they were away, they kept their relationship secret because if word had gotten out, it would distract them from the movie. Yeah, right, as if they weren't distracted already. The two ended their affair, and Miller married Will Arnett and had a child with him. They divorced, and then she married James Huggins and had a child with him too. Beverly DAngelo, 1997 to 2004. Al is a legend and is even a greater legend than you think. We're sure you're going to agree with us after we show you this. So Al met with Beverly DAngelo in 1996 when they were on a flight to New York City, and it took one moment before he made a powerful impression on her. For that moment, Beverly DAngelo forgot she was married to Italian Duke Lorenzo Salviati at the time. Quote, "He was seated in front of me. He said, 'Come up and sit beside me.' And by the time the plane landed, it was on," unquote. Again, what does Pacino say that makes beauties forget they are in a relationship? When DAngelo got home to her husband, he was as good as non-existent. She told her husband she was going to divorce him to be with Pacino. That's cold, DAngelo. Pacino didn't just want to date DAngelo, he wanted her to be the mother of his children. Quote, in 1997, he looked me in the eye and said, "I want you to be the mother of my children." And although I'd avoided that role my whole life, I was deeply in love and I was 100% in, she said. Who's got Al's number? DAngelo avoided being a mom when she was with Salviati, but with Pacino, she didn't see herself any other way. So after a few years of dating, the couple welcomed twins, Anton and Olivia, who were conceived through IVF in 2001. Unfortunately, after 7 years of dating, the two of them went their separate ways in 2004, and they didn't do so on the best of terms. They had a nasty custody battle over the children. Lucila Sola, 2008 to 2018. Looks like Al might love kids. When he began to date Argentine actress Lucila Sola in 2008, he became a father figure to her child, Camelia Morone, who was also an actress. Al remained as a father figure despite breaking up with Sola in 2018, although it helped that they parted on the best of terms. Mle Dohan, 2018 to 2020. There might be another reason why Al and Sola parted ways. It could be because of his not-so-little friend. When Pacino and Sola ended things, he didn't waste time before hooking up with another hottie. This time, it was the Israeli actress Mle Dohan. The two of them have a 36-year gap between them and were often found eating dinners in Hollywood. However, after 2 years, Dohan broke up with Al. Quote, "It's hard to be with a man so old, even Al Pacino. The age gap is difficult, yes. I tried to deny it, but now he is already an elderly man, to be honest, so even with all my love, it didn't last," Dohan said in 2020 after they broke up. So does this mean Al will retire and enjoy his old age? No, Al still got some action left in him. Noral, 2022 to present. Dohan might think Al Pacino is old, but Noral thinks otherwise. She and Al began to stir rumors about a possible romance in 2022 when people saw them grabbing dinner. Allegedly, the two of them had been dating way before then. Some say that they had begun to date in 2020 and that Nor has experienced and prefers dating older men. However, the two just aren't content dating. They want to also be parents. In 2023, Nor was spotted with a huge baby bump, and she has since given birth, making Al Pacino a father once again. The two of them still remain a couple, and the question is, has Al finally found the woman he'll be with to the end? Or does he still want to date more? Let us know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more.